speaker today is Tom Baker. He's spoken here many times before, and I always think it's appropriate that he should speak here because I think Tom and this church have a lot in common. We're both either broadly multidisciplined or hopelessly scattered, depending on your point of view. Tom Baker is a teacher of A Course in Miracles, a longtime student of near-death studies and the related phenomena. He's also a former Catholic priest. So he can give you a quick synopsis of the latest research by Dr. Michael Newton on the interlife experience, or he can give you a summary of the 15 anathemas against Oregon from the Fifth Ecumenical Council of Constantinople in AD 553, where the Catholic Church basically disavowed reincarnation and the interlife experience. And he can do it in English, Latin, Greek, or Hebrew. Maybe Aramaic if he's in a saucy mood. So yes, I've let the cat out of the bag. Tom Baker is a recovering Catholic. Now, that's okay, because the latest test results show that his Catholicism is still in remission. So, please welcome our friend, our brother, our teacher, Tom Baker.
Well, it's going to be serious, and I will be serious. But in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Spirit. Amen. Mm-hmm. Let me have a little drink here.
Is it wine yet?
Is it wine yet? I'm shooting blanks. Well, it looks like, if you watch television, that the world is going to hell in a handbasket. That we're just very, very bad to one another all of a sudden. And it looks grim. But according to spirituality and the traditions of spirituality, when things look the worst, they're often the best. When things look like the people are in conflict is sometimes the time in which they're really thinking. We're not just brushing everything under the rug. We're not just saying, well, it'll be okay, don't worry about it. Look the other way. This is not a time in which we're looking the other way. We're looking each other's way. And we're in the midst of a lesson that throughout the ages we have refused to learn. The way of saying it today is that Black Lives Matter. But it's bigger than that. This is not just a debate about racism. It's a call to recognize the importance and the preciousness of people who are often invisible. Invisible because of the color of their skin, what they do for a living, a medical condition they may have, their sexual orientation, where they live. For Jesus, it was prostitutes' lives matter, tax collectors' lives matter, and lepers' lives matter. Jesus noticed people who did not matter to anyone else and made them matter to him. The real lament we hear today is, I matter. Please be careful with me. Don't pounce on me and shoot me. Treat me like I matter to you. In my own life, the hardest thing about leaving the priesthood was that I suddenly didn't matter to the people in my world. I went to the bank here in Virginia Beach to open an account, and they wanted to see my ID. What? I said. My ID? Don't you know who I am? I'm Father Tom Baker. I don't need an ID. And the clerk looked very puzzled. And then I said, I saw the look on her face, and I said, yes, I'm sorry. I'm not a father anymore. In some ways, I don't matter to you except as a customer. Thank you for being polite, for acting as if I did matter. And I got my ID out. Then I had to go back to school to get my credentials to be a therapist. And I went to Norfolk State, which is mainly a black school. And I often felt invisible there as the member of a white minority. People brushed by me, ignored me, made a big breath when I came by. There goes Whitey. I felt like a kind-hearted puppy who looked like a mean pit bull. Tom's life matters, I thought to myself. Please let it matter. I mean no harm. I had a black professor named John Dancy who told the class one day that he was jogging in his neighborhood and he came up on several white women. As he passed them, he noticed that all of them had their mace out, ready in case he attacked them. He smiled back at them and ran a little faster. He wanted to say something like, ladies, Dr. Dancy's life matters. He means no harm. When we stop mattering to one another, we place ourselves in the consciousness of war. We stop caring. We are no longer open to love, only to the destruction of the person who now is our enemy. Let me remind you, enemies don't just come up. They're not created somewhere. We make an enemy. It's our decision. I have seen enemies made much of my life. First of all, in divorce. People get divorced, and here, people who greatly matter to one another now become hateful strangers. They lie to one another, they trick one another, and they try to hurt one another on purpose. Where people go to war, whether as couples or races or religions or nations, wherever that is, it's the saddest place on earth. It is madness. We have thought for thousands of years that we could use madness to protect our ego selves, our fragile sense of superiority over others. Yet the madness infects us. We catch the madness. Then brutality in word and act become the status quo. If we're not careful, our society will begin to reflect the consciousness of war. In some ways, it already does. More and more people are arming themselves. Schools now need an armed police presence to keep order. And politics has turned from debating ideas to politicians simply insulting one another. The nonviolence of Mahatma Gandhi and Martin Luther King Jr. and Nelson Mandela seems ages and ages ago. We are tempted to move into the consciousness of war, where no one matters. Yet at this tipping point, between respect and disdain, between gentleness and brutality, between cool heads and hot heads, is an opportunity to do something different than we usually do. Instead of going to war, we can turn to one another in peace. Thank God for churches like this. Churches like this where people matter to one another. where Tracy stood up and said, "I'm here," and we cared. Usually the line to say prayers is right out the door. We had to make that line shorter because of the length of the service. People were carrying too long. That's a good sign. It matters here where your birthday was or where you're from. It matters. This is a church where you need not arm yourself with defenses of any kind to feel safe. That's not so much for the way it was in the church I came from, the Catholic Church. I was an administrator as well as a teacher at a seminary called St. Meinrad. And I got to go to the Bishop's Conference every year. Hey. It was never in Las Vegas, I'm sure. But I was at the Bishop's Conference one year, and it was a year that Archbishop Hunthausen of Washington State, Seattle, Washington, had masses for a group of gay people. And he had regular masses, I think it was on Wednesday night, for gay people to attend, or people who had that sexual orientation. And they were well attended, and they got to have quite a reputation, and Archbishop Hunthausen did too. So the Pope told Bishop Hunthausen not to do that anymore. And Bishop Hunthausen did it anyway. And the Pope said, "You better stop, or you're going to lose your assignment. You're not going to be able to be Archbishop anymore." And he did it anyway. So the Pope said, "Punishment pending," at the time of the Bishop's Conference. And I went into the big, huge dining room with chandeliers and silver and china, and beautiful. And all the tables were filled except one. And at that table sat Archbishop Hunthausen, all by himself. And me, being the Archbishop's Lives Matter guy, went over and sat beside him, and we had dinner together. Now, I was a coward, because what I should have done, hello, George. What I should have done is I should have gotten up and I said, "Shame on you guys. Here's your brother Bishop. He's doing something for people that a lot of people have forgotten and who ridicule and who shun. He's brought them to Christ. He's brought them into the circle of love. And yet, look what you do to him. You banish him to a table by himself. Shame on you." Oh, I wish I had said that so much. But I didn't. Because I worked for St. Meinrad Seminary, and the bishops were our boss. If we got them mad, they wouldn't send their seminarians to us, and you know the score. I knew the score, and I didn't say anything. Nobody got up, nobody moved. We just ate our little silent meal together. This isn't that kind of church. No one eats by themselves. No one walks in and it isn't acknowledged. That's George. We're glad he's here. There's another hero, a real hero, not me, but a real hero that I've always loved. Her real name was Mildred Norman. Perhaps that doesn't ring a bell for you. She walked around the United States and logged 25,000 miles in 29 years. She had a shirt on emblazoned with the words, Peace Pilgrim. Peace Pilgrim said that she would walk for as long as she could, or as long as there was war in the world. She was walking to end all war. Interesting thing about her is that she walked for 29 years, and in those years, she was never hurt by anybody. She was never harmed in any way. You know, she was harmless. She had nothing against anyone. She was offering peace to anyone she met. Now, you and I don't have to put on a shirt with Peace Pilgrim and stroll around the United States for 29 years. That's what Mildred Norman was up to. That was her cause. But we can offer peace, and offer peace wherever we go to whomever we meet. It's what Jesus was doing. He always met people on peaceful terms, which led to trust, trust which led to healing, and healing which led to joy. If we can meet each other, meet every other as if their lives not only mattered, but that they are precious as trunks of diamonds, as precious as beds of roses, as precious as a school full of children whose smiles speak of peace, then our world would be all right. And you say, no, that's too simple. May I remind you that complication is that which has gotten us in trouble. Peace is that simple. And in these days, it is within our grasp.